everybody. Welcome to Anime Sicko, the podcast for geniuses. I'm Tom. I'm an anime sicko.
I'm Joe. I also, unfortunately, am an anime sicko.
Yeah, we're the Anime Sickos podcast, the podcast where we talk about anime gaming posting jobs, the four things we all do and all hate. But today, we're not going to do a normal episode. In fact, we're going to do a very special episode because we have, in fact, a very special guest. Who's our special guest?
Hi, I'm Sara McHenry.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm excited for the guest.
Joe, is that your new thing?
Yeah. That's just how I generate enthusiasm now.
Okay, cool. Sara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a writer, a cartoonist, a creative project manager, a sicko, but not an anime sicko.
Could you just repeat that one more time? Just to clarify, you do not watch anime.
I do not watch anime.
So yeah, you've headed us off at the pass with our first guest question, are you an anime sicko? Are a sicko. No anime. Interesting.
No anime. The most recent time I have watched anime is I loved the movie Alita Battle Angel so much that I saw it in the theater 3 times, and I wanted to see the anime, and it was fun. I mean, I had a good time. They definitely cut a dog into several pieces with like a chain of blades, which I loved so much I made a gif of it, and it's just a dog exploding into blood and entrails, which is kind of like what anime is to me. And
Correct.
I mean, you're not. It's not that you don't have a full view. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just really not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that you're the first person to win the podcast.
Yeah, you've solved the puzzle. We can shut it down. Like when you first said this to us, like it was as if you had sort of a tone of apology where it's like, sorry guys, but I never really got into anime. And it's just like, no, I think you're fundamentally misunderstanding the concept here. Like we being anime fans have stepped into a huge bear trap that is causing us immense misfortune. And you're like, guys, I never stepped in the bear trap. Sorry. And it's like, no.
We're so happy for you. We're so happy for you.
You're free. This is a thing that causes us massive struggles.
Yeah, not to like glorify STEM, but I often think that if I just, everything that my brain is devoted to anime-wise, if that was just like doing math, I would be so much better off in the world. Like if I was just doing simple equations instead of thinking about Goku, I'd be in good shape.
So I want to know a little bit more. Let's get into this. Like what anime have you interfaced with, and how did it allow you to succeed where we failed?
Well, so I'm going to have to ask some stupid questions in the course of this.
No such thing.
Is Speed Racer anime?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched Speed Racer in high school, and then my best friend got into Vampire Hunter D, and we're talking like late 90s here. Mm-hmm. And I tried watching it, and I was like, I don't like this. Like, I would rather be watching The Simpsons if I'm going to watch cartoons.
Well, Simpsons is anime.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. We have to start over. Then I'm definitely an anime sicko if The Simpsons is anime.
Yeah, The Simpsons and King of the Hill are famously anime.
There are arguments in Japan where people argue whether or not you should watch King of the Hill subbed or dubbed, and I was so happy that those discussions are happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The prevailing opinion is that the dubs don't capture the ineffable qualities of the characters. So I'm like, oh my God, it's universal.
I wonder if they do the opposite, and when they dub the characters, they give them Osakan accents.
Yeah, there's definitely like the rural part of Japan. But it's still not that's the thing. It's not Texas, which is what you gotta have for King of the Hill.
Yeah, but if you read, like, I've read some manga, right? And they always give the Osakan character, like, basically a drawl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is wild to me.
Wait a minute. So you said you're not an anime sicko, but now you're telling me you read manga? That's the same. That's the same to me.
Oh my God. I didn't realize this was going to be like the House Un-American Activities Committee. So I've read some Azumanga Daioh, right? I've read.
Oh, hit us with it. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's like about teenage girls in high school, and it's just cute. It's just gentle humor.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
It's really nice. And I've read. I don't think Cheese Sweet Home has any Osaka characters, but it's about a cat, so of course I read it, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and so then my now husband, this is such a like boyfriend in college thing to do. We watched an episode of Fooly Cooley, and I was like, I hate this. Goodbye. I should have broken up with him, but I didn't. And we tried watching, let's see, we watched Akira, and we watched like the first episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay, I think I see the trend here, which is why you were able to escape whereas we weren't. You are describing almost exclusively like very like cerebral, like smart dude anime that really like thinks about existential themes. Whereas Joe and I, the anime we like is about screaming children surpassing their limits.
Oh yeah. Is it made for 8-year-olds in Japan? Yeah, give me it. It's my weakness.
I see.
Like One Piece, which is the thing that I love the most, is like a Disney cartoon for idiot babies. And I can't get enough. And Evangelion is like for sad college students to think about like the nature of belief. And fine, I can't get into that shit.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
too hard.
Okay, I understand. So like, I heard a lot of good things about Yuri on Ice. Okay.
We have a guest plan who's very excited to talk about that. We haven't done the deep dive on it yet, but
There's a sicko in the wings.
yeah. So out of curiosity, what did you hear?
Just that it was really good and gay, and my friend who's super into it, when the finale dropped, they booked like one of those single person conference rooms in their office so they could watch it alone and cry.
Jesus Christ.
Which made me feel like, okay, this might be my thing. I like a love story.
Yeah.
That's like the best. I'm sold on it now completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all that I knew about it was that it's queer and good and about ice skating. And I love Haikyuu, which is about volleyball. And it's not explicitly queer, but I believe that all of these boys are in love with each other. So I'm like, if it's like that, give me more. give me more of that. I love it.
So of the other pillars of despair, posting video games and jobs, where do you fall in? Where is unfortunately most of your brain power spent?
Definitely posting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a gamer, but like, for example, when I leave here, I'm going to go home and we're having people over to play Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, yeah, cool.
My video game brain is like 75% Animal Crossing and then 25% like assorted, generally non-violent RPGs and stuff like that.
The thing about Animal Crossing is that I've played tons of games and I still just want to pick up fruit.
Yeah.
Like it's all I want to do.
Yeah.
It's the perfect game.
I am so excited for the new one. I cannot wait. Like, I'm probably just going to like go into like a cocoon of just all I do is play it for a week and no one will see me or hear from me. I throw my phone out the window, the end.
Yeah.
It's perfect because it's such go at your own pace. Just like do how you want to do, have a good time.
Yeah.
And it's like really freeing when every aspect of life is deadlines.
Yeah, and every video game is like, hey, bitch, this is the only thing you're gonna do forever now. I've uncovered the feedback loop that makes the serotonin come out. You're my slave now.
Yeah.
I've never played an Animal Crossing game, but I have this one pre-ordered, and I know what Stardew Valley did to me. So what I'm expecting is to just have my brain hijacked in, I'm going to say, a permanent way. I don't think I'll ever come out.
No, you won't, for sure. Yeah. Like, you know how in a lot of video games, if you start doing something that isn't the thing they want you to do, they're like, Agent 47, get back in there or whatever. Like, and I tried playing Hitman because do y'all like Tim Rogers, the video game reviewer?
I'm not familiar.
Kotaku. Oh my God, he's incredible. He's incredible. He works at Kotaku now and makes video game review videos. And but sometimes they're funny. Like he had one that was just all about growing a beard in Red Dead Redemption and like how long it takes you if you buy the beard growing tonic or whatever. Anyway, he's very smart and funny. And I liked his review of Hitman a lot and I tried to play it, but like games that have too many buttons and too many things to do, I just can't. I'm just not very good at it. But I did have a great time, but I did kill a lot of people. Oh, but anyway, Animal Crossing doesn't have that. Like, you just do whatever you want, and it never tells you what to do. And if you don't play for a few days, there's bugs in your house, and then you have to step on the bugs, and that's literally all that happens.
Have you had the experience of playing the game after being away for a long time, and the game guilts you, or it's just like, we miss you?
Yeah, and your neighbors move away.
They move away?
Yeah, they move away if you don't interact with them. And the thing is, I know people who will like get someone in their town that they don't like, and you can like hit them with a bug net and stuff until they move. I can't do that. This is not my thing.
So we're envious of your anime-less life because you're free, at least 1/4 free. Do you think it is possible to be completely free from the four pillars in any way? Like, can you be truly free, or would one always be an albatross around your neck?
I mean, I hope that at least death will release me from the other prisons.
Because I literally like can't imagine a life free of anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. And anime, we're defining broadly, but
right.
Just like to be free of one, as you are, even that is astonishing to me.
Well, if we're, with this new definition of anime we're working with, I might not be free after all, right?
I mean, you're freer than we are.
Okay, fair enough. I'm a recreational anime sicko.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this and how we talked about how if you are really wealthy, you don't have to have a job. And you could probably be, obviously I'm proof you can be free from anime. But posting is really the one that when I see incredibly wealthy people on Twitter, I'm like, you don't have to be doing this.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm angry on their behalf. I was like, you can do whatever, and you're getting upset like I am, a poor person. You shouldn't have to.
No. The whole point of this, the whole reason we gave you all that money, we didn't. But
the whole reason you would acquire money.
Yeah, like you should be able to, like, God, imagine having your house be just like a Faraday cage and you just can't, no posts can come in or go out.
It's incredible.
And you have the money to make that happen. You can, like, build your environment.
Like, I think about, like, what my life could be if I were free of the quadrangle of despair. If I was able to, like, do things that were, like, constructive and fulfilling. Like, if I was able, like, to pursue, cooking at like a non-stressful way, or like start growing food, learning how to do that. Because like I do like cooking a bit, and I grow herbs in my garden, but like that's all I'm allowed to do in this framework of capitalist hell. And I think about all the freedom that I could have if only I were to be fabulously wealthy. And these bitches still are going on Twitter and being like 420 Harambe, and then everyone's like, eat shit, moron.
Yeah, why?
I think my theory is that when you're rich and you have the ability to do whatever you want and buy anything, people liking you online is the one thing you can't buy. So they are compelled to just try to get the one thing that escapes them. Because like the only good thing about Twitter is that you can like tell a rich person to like eat your ass. And they will read it because it's clear that like Elon Musk had a meltdown because he read every negative thing about him. You can see it happen in real time. But you can't buy people liking you online.
Yeah. And the thing is, part of the reason I'm on Twitter is all my friends are there. And if I had unimaginable wealth, I would just have my friends in person with me. I'd have a commune and none of us would have to work.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
And I could just say my shit posts out loud and not have to think about it anymore.
And then the only thing better than like someone liking is like everyone clapping in front of you.
Oh my God, I know. It's true though. It's absolutely true. It's like that dopamine just concentrated. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, because like we've mentioned this before, but like just the sort of way life is shaped now is like if you don't make like a big effort, you just won't see your friends for months.
Yeah.
Like because like even if you have a cushy job, just 8 hours of some bullshit a day is gonna make you so drained that like you don't want to do anything. So you're not gonna see people. To be rich and just be able to have like fucking all your friends private jet to your villa, because you definitely have a villa. Like, why would you not be doing that 24/7? Why are you going to be on the fucking Twitter machine, which is like this goddamn horrible Skinner box for the poors to like kill each other on. I don't get it.
I have a question about how rich people use Twitter also.
Yes.
Have you noticed when celebrities tweet that they capitalize every word sometimes?
Yeah, that's...
Why do they do that?
I think they imagine their words coming out of their mouth as capitalized.
Okay, so it's like everything they say is already like an aphorism.
I think so. That's my theory.
My theory is that, and this goes for a lot of sort of rich and successful people, not just celebrities, but just like they've never had to learn what correct is because everything they've done has been treated as though it is correct.
Yeah. I've wondered if there's some special rich person Twitter app that you get from the App Store for like $500,000 that capitalizes your words for you and puts weird extra spaces in and, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I remember there was for a while an app from the App Store that was $1,000 that did nothing. Like
yeah,
you
it's called like I'm Rich or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that got taken down. They should have let people continue to do that.
Yeah. And then all the money just went to like fighting homelessness and curing diseases and all the stuff that like, it's just taxes, but we have to trick them into it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which, if that's how it's got to happen, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with tricking them is actually better because we get to feel like a genius.
That's true. Yeah.
The one thing I struggle with is freedom from gaming because, like, I play games less than I did because having a job makes you tired.
Mm-hmm.
And games nowadays are designed to make you more tired.
Yeah, and I have this horrible habit where I will still read about new games coming out as if I'm like, oh, you know, in a month from now when I'm not tired, life will be better and I'll play all these. And it's a weird sort of lie I keep telling myself.
Mm-hmm. I got the Link's Awakening remaster.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. It came out yesterday and then it was like midnight and I was like, I'm too tired to start a new game. I'm going to bed. Goodbye.
Yep.
The fucking state you get with post-midnight gaming, it feels like you have like gotten a mad scientist to be like, make a serum that makes my body feel as bad as possible, please. And yet, and he gives it to me and I'm like, cool. My main goal in life is to take this as often as possible.
It's truly bone-hurting juice.
Oh, yeah. And then if you're, like, tired the next day because you game too hard, you feel so bad.
Yeah, it's like the stupidest way. It's the stupidest hangover because you didn't even get to be drunk.
Yeah.
You just, yeah.
I've been experiencing that, not as much now, but a couple of months ago, I was really deep into Slay the Spire, which is one of those games where you can just, like, play it like 10 times in a row and have a bad run every time and just feel really frustrated, where I will like stay up till 2 in the fucking morning because I'm like, maybe the next run will be good. And then I get so sleepy that I fall asleep while I'm playing. I'm like, damn, now I gotta actually go to sleep. And then as I'm like getting ready to go to real sleep, it occurs to me, like, I didn't enjoy any of that.
Well, it's our capitalism poisoned brain trying to turn gaming into job, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And people who, like, stream have done that.
And they're the only people with good jobs. That's the only good job.
But they're still trapped by the same mindset, though, because
Absolutely.
it turns a thing that is just for you, playing a game, into a company.
Yeah. I've definitely purchased a game, played a little bit of it, and either didn't like it or got distracted by something else, and then felt really bad about not finishing it. And it's like, what the fuck? What am I have to go like have a bad time to get my money's worth? That's not how it works. And yet
I'm nodding because, like, this is every time I look at my shelf, I'm like, I have to have a bad time. I deserve it. I spent money.
yeah, I have to. Oh God, why do we believe that? And I think I'm more free of it than like my husband. He'll be like, I'm feeling guilty that I haven't played, whatever. And I'm like, why do you feel guilty? It's literally a game. Who gives a shit?
Also, I guarantee that, like, it's not like the creators who put their heart and soul into this art are going to feel bad that I haven't engaged with and experienced the feelings that they put into it. As soon as they have your money, I guarantee they're like, fucking fine, delete it right away for all we care.
Well, it's like that thing where a gym owner's favorite client is actually one that signs up and never shows up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I know games are really expensive now. A AAA game is like $60. But if
Right.
you think like if you're going to go to the movies and get popcorn and beverages, you're going to spend like $40, right?
Yeah.
So if I get 4 hours of fun out of a game and then I just kind of quit playing, like, okay, that's fine. Like, not like I would do this every week because I'm not rich, which is why I have to post and have a job. But, there's no such thing as getting your money's worth. That's a fake idea, but we're all lashed to it.
I have that problem too, because even if I enjoy a game for 6 hours and I don't finish it, my brain is like, your enjoyment wasn't real.
Yeah.
You didn't finish it.
I never finish games.
I still haven't finished Breath of the Wild specifically because I was so depressed with the idea of it ending that I wanted to just leave it in limbo forever.
Yeah. I've definitely done that move.
Mm-hmm.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
You admitted in sincerity, which we appreciate, that the thing you were the biggest slave to is posting.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my problem with posting. First of all, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yes.
I really wish it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
My
also-
problem with posting is that my posts don't do numbies, even though I'm a genius.
Yeah. And but the real issue is that I am compelled, like just an idiot, to find the worst opinions online so I can look at them.
Yes.
And do you
All
relate to
the
this?
time. I will find an idiot's Twitter and be like, well, I have to read 500 of this person's posts so I can be real sure I hate them. Why?
Why do we feel like this? This is like clearly a death drive thing, right?
A big time
Yes.
Thanatos.
Yes. I don't know if it's the dopamine hit of knowing that you're smarter than someone. Like, oh, look at this idiot. Oh, look, here's an opinion they had that's wrong. Here's another. And you have to just keep...
Just hearing that phrase vocalized in human words for the first time, like I had like a full body shudder of recognition.
There was this period where I found some woman in Virginia who had like 3 followers. And I kept sending, like she was taking like a selfie every 6 minutes. And she kept putting on different hats. And
Oh, like literal hats?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
chef hat?
Yeah.
Like...
And she was also smoking like pot like in every shot. And I was like, this woman, I can't stop looking at. And she would like reply to like popular posts, like the trending stuff with like gifs that don't make sense. And I was like fascinated by this woman, and like
Yeah.
that's all I did for 2 days. And I would keep sending him tweets. He's like, "You have to stop. Like you have to. This isn't healthy." And I don't know why. I couldn't. It was really hard.
Is it freedom from posting to be that bad at posting? Or is that the worst prison that there is?
What's the worst prison there is? Because you don't know that you're in prison. If you know you're in
fuck.
prison, at least you can be like, I wish I were free, and you can imagine what freedom would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't look away. It was like looking at a car crash. Like, don't look, Joe. Don't look. But then you drive past it, and you're like, maybe I'll see a body.
Yeah. I think it's also related to the whole phenomenon of like, oh, this smells terrible, smell this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I always want to share it, and I have to always stop myself from quote tweeting, haha, look at this dumbass. Because no one else wants, people want to see this, but they shouldn't want to, right?
Yeah.
I should try to protect my friends from this. Just because I've seen something horrible doesn't mean I have to share it. I think it's also like the movie in The Ring. Like, you have to show it to someone else so you don't die.
Yes.
Yeah.
It ceases to be a specter that torments you, and you're like, I have to turn this from a persecutor to a novelty.
Yeah.
God, fuck. Like just today, I saw Sean, who is a British YouTube guy who is lefty and is delightful. He was like, today's challenge, read every reply to this post. And he retweeted a post that was about a 11-year-old girl in Montana who some illegals were doing a home invasion, and she murdered them with a gun. And it was presented in this post as a hero's tale. And I fucking clicked the post.
Oh, no.
And I read them.
Don't open that door.
I read them.
Oh, man. And you're still standing.
I mean, can you call this life?
Yeah, at what cost? Here's a fact about me. My dad used to be in the NRA and would get this magazine called American Sportsman. And
I wonder what sports they're going to talk about.
the gun ones. And it would be on the back of the toilet. And so sometimes I would read it. And there is a letters column that is absolutely letters to Penthouse, but with guns instead of fucking.
Oh my
man.
God.
It's like, oh, here's a person who stopped a home invasion. Good thing he had his gun. And this is what that sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, dear Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me. Some illegals came into my house and I was allowed to kill them because laws.
Jeez. So, okay, this is something that I want to talk about because what you're describing is posting. It's exactly posting, but it was not on the internet. So something I try to do every once in a while and always fail at is like not look at Twitter for a day. Maybe this will make my life better. Maybe I'll be free from posting. Do you believe that posting is just on the internet, or is being free from posting more of a holistic life change?
That's an interesting question because as a person with a paper zine, right, I definitely have put things in my zine that are a shit post. And I get that giddy feeling of doing a shit post, but without the immediate feedback. You know, you don't get where somebody just puts your name with a period after it, like when you know you've done a really big one. And then you just have to wait. And then people don't like email you to be like, that thing you wrote, like that doesn't happen. Yeah. So I would say that that's not really posting because posting involves the immediate feedback. I think that's part and parcel of the disease.
Okay. So you are of the opinion that posting, capital P posting, must be online?
I think so, yeah. What do you think?
I think that there is a posting energy that doesn't necessarily mean online, but online harnesses it with the immediate feedback. That is the thing that absolutely rots your brain.
Yes. What I'm getting, okay, I like this. Because defining posting as purely online makes it seem as though posting is a new impulse, but I believe it is just a baked-in facet of the human psyche that has existed forever. But I think it's something to the effect of like, well, you can get caffeine from a plant, and people have been able to do that since ancient times. But nowadays, we can just generate a fucking caffeine pill. It's 100% caffeine. You can just fucking take 10 of them and become vibrating at the speed of light and pass through solid matter.
Okay. So being extremely online is like freebasing posting.
Yeah. Like, historically, you can go to, like, Pompeii and see people, like, writing the equivalent of suck a fuck a ding dong and, like, on the walls. And that was that at the time.
Yeah.
But they had to, like, get a chisel and, like, work.
Yeah.
And the problem is you can have your phone and have a dumb thought, and there's, like, no stopgap between thought and it being out there.
And also, we were talking about rich people posting earlier. In the old days, if you wanted to know what a rich person thought, well, one, what the fuck's wrong with you? And two, you just can't do it. You can't do it. Like, how would you know? You're not going to talk to him. And now we get Elon Musk being like, me and Milady Grimes are having an epic time watching Samurai Champloo. And it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, God.
Yeah, you get to see their brain move in, like, the low stakes thing. Like, if you ever go to, like, the real good Twitter stuff is when you go to, like, 2009. You're like, what was Shaq up to in 2009?
Well, he was at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's, like, the perfect example. And that's, like, the stuff that's real addictive when you're like, oh, his butt was too big for the seats.
Yeah. That's him yelling.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe as an illustrative example of this need to see bad posts, can you explain a recent run-in you had with film Twitter?
Well, to be fair, I just observed this and screen capped it because it was so bad that, again, I had to make everybody smell it.
Oh, that counts.
Yeah, that's as pure a post as if you were a primary participant.
Yeah, I mean, it was done to me. I was the victim of it. My film critic and friend of mine, Scott Tobias, said that he didn't like the Joker movie, and he explained why in a tweet, and someone replied and asked, so art has to have a point of view now? I thought art was about no rules.
Oh.
And then something about coloring outside the lines.
I remember, I don't remember exactly, but I saw this as you were posting it, and I too was like, because Scott Tobias was like, the message of this movie to me is bad. Like, it's a bad message. And because the movie is intended to communicate that message, thus the movie is bad. And he's like, it was just like, if art has a specific point, it's automatically bad. Interesting that you think that.
Oh, interesting that you. So that's what you think, huh? And then the person admitted they hadn't seen the movie. They just wanted to argue.
Oh, chef's kiss. That's
Yeah.
the best.
Oh God.
People are so it's also a weird subset of posting is the way people are defensive about things they've never seen just because
It's just culture war shit.
yeah, it's culture war shit. They haven't seen it yet, but they know which side they're going to come on this, so they might as well pregame by yelling about opinions before seeing it.
Yeah, they're just rooting for corporations like it's sports.
Yes, and I don't want to sidetrack, but when Avengers Endgame passed Titanic and people were like doing the "you did it," like you were so proud of you, I like that actually made me put down Twitter for a day because I felt like I need to be unplugged because I can't experience this viewpoint anymore. I can't imagine going to bat for
the most fucking successful creative human endeavor in history, money-wise.
Yeah,
And that's a loose interpretation of creative, I would also
yes.
say.
for sure.
And then the other day, Jeet here said that Scorsese needed a good editor, and I just wanted to leave the planet.
Jeet!
Jeet is
a chaos agent.
Jeet is a dangerous follow because he's absolutely why posting is dangerous because it's this guy who like just flips a coin and he like
Yes!
he has like a good take and then he'll just have some insane shit that like is not grounded in reality.
Yeah. That chaos energy, that's the kind of person I mute when I realize, oh, you're just saying things. Mm-hmm. You're just posting just to post. And Godspeed, but I cannot subject my brain to it.
And yet we continue to go back to the well.
Yeah.
We all three of us here are fully aware of how dangerous this is, but I want to drink of the juice.
Yeah.
Give me the juice. Ooh, tasty.
What? Tell me what Jacob Wool said about locking briefcases. I need to know. This is important. God.
I saw that tweet and it's his fucking face and a wall of tiny text and I'm like, well, I guess I'm making the text big.
I guess I'm zooming in on this thing.
My girlfriend is not online and she walked into the bedroom like a week ago and was like, I just found out about Jacob Wall.
No.
And I had to be like, I'm sorry. That sucks.
That's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I would like to ask if you've had any success doing the Twitter cleanse where you free yourself from it for a little bit and how that went. I think because that's an impulse I have all the time. It's like, I got to stop doing this. And then I come back.
My best Twitter cleanses are when I have to be busy doing something else. Mm-hmm. And it's sometimes I will go on a trip for work and go work in a warehouse moving heavy boxes for like 8 hours a day. And let me tell you, it's fucking sweet to then look at Twitter and everybody's dunking on something and I'm like, I have no idea what this is.
It's...
Well, bye.
Yes.
It's such a good feeling.
So how do you, so I've had that sort of scenario where I haven't been able to look at Twitter for a while and then people are dunking on a thing I don't know about. But what I have is an insatiable need to be Twitter PI and find out what it is. How do you overcome that?
Well, the thing is, if it's political, I don't need to know. Like if it's related to Trump, I'm just like, fuck it. There's something else stupid is going to happen tomorrow, and it doesn't matter. If it's more than that, if it's more like interpersonal, or it's like about fucking what is her name, Caroline Calloway, I'm like, oh, I'm on the fucking case. I've got my Sherlock hat on. I'm diving in, and that can be fun. Do either of you have the thing where you will explain a thing from online to your spouse, or have them explain it to you or your partner?
Oh my God.
I feel like a horse that just started talking. And I don't know why I feel compelled to do it. Like, I have 0% success rate in making a connection with my girlfriend on this front, but I'm like, maybe this time she'll understand this fucking drill tweet. She won't. And I still feel compelled to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. My wife is online enough that like 80% of the time there's like she gets it. But every once in a while I'm like, look at this post. And I show it to her and I look at her face and I'm just like, oh no, I've made a big mistake. She's like, what is this? And I'm like, well, To begin, we have to go back 2 years, and it's like, maybe this isn't worth it.
See, my husband and I, we're both extremely online, but we like the overlap. There's things, that only one of us will know. And that's, to me, that's part of the pleasure of being online. Is like we're both sitting there without phones in our hands, and I'm like, okay, so this YouTube guy was cheating on his elf girlfriend. It's like you get out the red string and the push pins, and you get to explain the whole thing. And
I was about to say I don't have the Twitter PI problem. That's incorrect. I didn't know what this Jared guy was, but that's all I could think about and looking about the elf cheating.
Oh my god, we did an episode about wife posts. We're gonna do an addendum later when enough wife posts have gathered, and he's the main one. Because like I'm a fucking idiot who anytime someone talks about video game facts on YouTube, I'm like, give me the slap, I want it. And so I've seen one of his videos, and I'm like, well, this guy's a charisma-free asshole who has nothing unique about him. I'm never gonna watch another one of his videos. And it turns out, oh man, so much drama on this boy's life. What a sex pervert.
yeah. Oh boy.
We're the anime sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Sarah, so you say you're not an anime sicko. You're not into anime. I would think I have a theory. That you actually are, and you just don't know it. Because I know from posting that you like the musical band, the Mountain Goats. And my theory is that the Mountain Goats are anime.
This is such an intriguing idea to me because there is a lot of lore. Mm-hmm. There is a huge body of work to confront. And it is the dedicated work of one individual, one, I don't want to say monomaniacal, but it's like the obsessive work of one creative genius.
It is the pure mental output of an extremely focused person.
Yes. The thing that makes me think that this might not be a perfect analogy, but it's very good. But the thing is that you can start anywhere with the Mountain Goats and with anime, generally speaking. Although I guess you could say that each album is its own series.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where each part is a story, and then the next part is a completely separate story.
Extremely knows what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is voice. Yes, I agree.
Perfect.
So what you might know from me on posting is that I love the Mountain Goats. They are my favorite band, almost to the exclusion of other bands. Like to me, there's listening to the Mountain Goats, and then there's listening to non-Mountain Goats music, and those are like two halves of the music that I listen to. And the fact is that, like, as an asshole with a poetry degree, I'm super into the lyrics, and I like dissecting the rhymes and all this stuff, but none of that is necessary. That's just me, right? That's just what I do. I think it's really interesting that you said the thing about listening to the albums while you were doing other stuff, because for me, I'll have music on while I'm doing other things, but I'm right at that age where I like to put on an album and listen to an album from start to finish. And playlists are fine, and Spotify Discover and whatever. But like I'm really into that. Like the album is like the movie, right? You listen to the whole thing front to back, and it takes you on a little journey. And for that reason, so the Mountain Goats are like tailor made as a band for me for that reason. Which is not to say that I won't just pick a song and listen to it on repeat, because I do.
So wait, when you say that you're listening to the album all the way through, like I understand that impulse. I in college was, and this may shock you and all listeners, but a fucking pretentious white boy snob. So I was very into like the album as an article of expression. So like I understand that impulse, but like when you're saying that you're listening to the album, like do you mean like you sit down on a little chair looking at nothing, listen to the album while focusing your attention entirely upon it? Because like you said, like as I said earlier, like I have listened to The Sunset Tree and the one about wrestling.
Beat the Champ.
Yeah, that one. While I'm like doing work. And after they're finished, I'm like, oh, I didn't retain a single fucking thing. Because and also it's like I feel like intimidated to begin, because I know that like John Darnielle, the guy who does it all, is like a genius writer who writes incredible lyrics, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to find the time to sit in a little chair and listen to every lyric with full intent and grasp it all. And so it's too scary to me. I feel like I'll be like the fool who don't get it.
I don't think that that's completely accurate. I think that I don't sit in a little chair. There are times when I'm having an emotion and I think I just need to sit here and listen to an album all the way through, right? Like sometimes that just happens because it's akin to a meditation or reading a book where you just want to give it your full attention. But for me, you can put an album on, and I think especially with an album you haven't heard before, you'll find an anchor or like a foothold. Like one particular rhyme or metaphor or drum fill, there will be one thing that hooks you. And then that's the little crack that opens up where you get in.
I agree completely. So I'm kind of like, I'm like the smartest dumb guy on the planet. Like of all the dumb guys, I'm the smartest, but I'm still a dumb guy. And I need to listen to a song like 60 times sometimes, but it's that crack that opens up the compulsive looping. Like I've listened to this year, I've fucking ran that thing into the ground a million times. I know that's common because it's one of the well-known songs, but it's the same thing.
One thing that I've noticed that I think may explain why I've had such a difficulty with the Mountain Goats is I've noticed that Destroyer is a band that I fucking love, but the only albums of theirs that I can like grasp onto in my mind are the ones after they started putting in horns. Because most of their records are just a guy singing with like light acoustic alt rock going in the background and fucking like it's as though there was nothing playing. I just don't understand, like, is this music? And then they put horns in their like 2011-ish I think album Kaput, and I'm like, oh, this is one of the best albums of the year. The next one, Poison Season, is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'm like, man, I love Destroyer, I should go back and listen to their old stuff. Nope, didn't fucking take. And I'm wondering if that is sort of like, if my brain just doesn't latch on, if there's just this acoustic sound without any like extra thing. And I'm feeling that this is another reason that the Mountain Goats is anime, because a lot of people have that about anime where there's like the art style just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, a lot of people will say about the Mountain Goats that it is specifically the sound of John Darnielle's voice, particularly in the early albums before he got any good at singing, which I get. I understand why it would be unpleasant to some. To me, I love to see it. It's it's great.
I mean, what you're saying is exactly like word for word what someone would say about anime.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Without the John Darnielle part, probably.
Yeah.
But
like,
the thing that other people hate about it is the thing I like about it, right? And that's so often true of the things I love the most. Is it's the stuff that's so divisive or so off-putting to others that I'm like, give me the garbage, you know? I want it. And that's, in a way, there's something satisfying about that too, about knowing that it is not crowd-pleasing, but that it is exactly for you. Like we were talking about Endgame, and I can't imagine, even if I saw it and liked it, which is already unfathomable to me, but I can't imagine getting pleasure from like, oh, this was made for me and people like me, because who it's made for is literally everyone.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's focus tested.
Well, another thing about how the Mountain Goats are anime is that, like, as an outsider, for all the reasons I've already explained, it's difficult to conceive of getting into them, but also because at this point, Mountain Goats fans have internalized so much fucking Darnielle energy that like the idea of like catching up seems impossible. And like I wrote in our little outline, like what I feel like when I think of like maybe I'll start listening to the Mountain Goats is what I imagine like a normie feels when they think like maybe I'll start watching One Piece.
I would like to add to that, I looked at a Mountain Goats shit posting page, and it was like another language.
Okay, first of all, I'm on the Mountain Goats shitposting group on Facebook, and it is great because it combines two things I love, which is anime, parentheses the Mountain Goats, and posting. The thing is that fans, like so many things I love, the fans are the worst part, which is not to say there is a lot of really good Mountain Goats fans that I love, but there's a lot of people, particularly men, who will try to be like, well, you just have to like, you can only like it if you devote your whole life to it. And that's fucking bullshit. And you should be able to just pick up an album and listen to it and see what, if anything, grabs you. I think the way most people get into the Mountain Goats is they have a friend or significant other who kind of forces it upon them. which is like the normal way.
Yeah, so most people get into anything.
Yeah, that's the vector of contagion, right? Is generally romance. But that's interesting. I can see how it's intimidating, especially at this late date of 2009. Like when I started listening to them, it was 2002, and they had way fewer albums. And they were harder to find because you had to actually find them in a store, like with money, like a caveman.
Jesus.
And so that was a lot easier to sort of control your dose, right?
Right.
And now you can just be like, oh, Spotify will make me a 15-hour playlist. Of course, it doesn't have anything earlier than, I want to say, All Hail West Texas. You can't get the tapes on Spotify.
Oh, no.
You have to go to YouTube for that.
I want to ask a clarifying question, though. The fact that for a while you only had this small amount of stuff that you could pour over endlessly, does that contribute?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I borrowed All Hail West Texas from a boy I had a crush on, who I'm now married to, and made a copy of it. And so to me, the like definitive edition of All Hail West Texas is this like burned CD that like, and yeah, I think that that's true. Like you look at the liner notes very obsessively, and like you've seen maybe one picture of the guy, and it was like a black and white picture that was printed in the Onion next to an interview, you know?
Yep.
And like that's all you have to go on. And we just are never having those days back. And I don't want to be the old guy who says that it was better, but it was definitely different.
Just, I'm hearing these stories you're telling, and I'm thinking back on my experiences reading One Piece, and it's just like I'm clicking all the boxes. It's the fucking same.
Yeah. I will say that my favorite album of theirs continues to be We Shall All Be Healed. And I would say that The Sunset Tree is a very good starting point for if anybody who is listening wants to dip their toe into the anime that is The Mountain Goats. First of all, you can @ me on Twitter and I will help you because I love to be a Sherpa to a new Mountain Goats fan. But yeah, start with one of those and then just kind of put on a mix and then notice which songs you like, and then you'll sort of find which mode you like the best.
And this is just a little addendum. I don't want to get too much into this because we've been on this for a bit, but I just occurred to me that another vector of the Mountain Goat's intimidation factor is that, like, John Darnielle's on Twitter. He's posting.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of people talk to him like they're, like, friendly with him, and I'm just like, oh, no, this is too much.
He follows a few of my friends, which is good. I am glad he doesn't follow me because sometimes I just want to say, yeah, doo-doo on your ass or whatever. Like I don't.
It's so freeing. It's so freeing.
I really would love it if Twitter had the thing that LiveJournal did where you could have locked posts and open posts. Because, like, yeah, I don't mind if John Darnielle sees my cats and knows what I made for dinner and knows what I think about a movie I just saw. But sometimes I just want to say, I have cramps and I'm sad and I don't need, and I for some reason I need to say that to the 9,000 idiots that follow me, 8,000 of which are probably bots. But, like, I don't need, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's like a very small amount of people who I admire who follow me, and like anytime I make a dumbass post that doesn't do any numbies, I'm just like oh well, it doesn't matter, and then I like feel that fucking like panic urge. I'm like oh wait, no, fuck.
But have you had the experience of having a post do numbies and it gets retweeted by a big name and then you just get all these fucking normies in your mentions?
Legitimately never.
Oh my God, it's the worst. You are free from this aspect of posting, which is because I'm just friends with some webcomics people who are pretty big. And anytime I get retweeted by like Jeff Jacks or Casey Green, or like there's a few people who, and I love them and I'm glad they retweet me and it's not a problem. And I have replies from non-followers muted so I don't have to look at their fucking normie
Smart
bullshit.
move.
But then you'll just get, it's always like people trying to punch up your joke. Woo-hoo. It's people telling you what you just said. It's the gif of the lady in the blue shirt spitting her coffee, which if I could block that gif from my life.
You should be able to mute GIFs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never show me this bullshit again. Should be like a button you can push.
I love seeing a new gif of a black woman nodding in a sassy way get like adopted by white ladies, and just, because you can see it start, and you're like, oh, this is good. This one has legs.
You have communicated, though, I think, which is the inherent contradiction in Twitter, which is the goal is to get people to look at your stuff. but that's also bad because then people look at you and they yell at you.
Yes, absolutely true. I get people, and that's another form of normie reply is just men telling you that you're wrong. We were talking about putting on the private investigator hat, and my thing is if you say something vaguely political and then you get a response where someone says something that could be in support or could be an argument, it's like where they just say like LOL sure thing or like so, and then you have to go fucking look at 20 of their posts to find out because they aren't decent enough to put like hashtag MAGA in their bio, and so then you have to like scry to figure out if you're blocking them or just muting them. It's like, why am I wasting time on this?
That's life.
I do like to post something very stupid. I call it mute bait, where you post something that's like either a rhetorical question or like an opinion on Fight Club or something, and then you just watch the men just run off the cliff of getting muted, and I just mute every single one of them, and then I never have to hear from them again.
That's you putting a piece of cheese under a crate with a stick, waiting for them to come knock it over.
Oh my God. Our friend Gwen posted once like a screen cap of a Tumblr post. It wasn't even her post. She was just like, look at this post. It's pretty cool. And it's about like someone who's saying like if someone's favorite movie is like Fight Club or favorite show is Breaking Bad or, you know, all these like fucking classic like angry right-wing guy favorites. Like I know it's a red flag. And it got retweeted something like fucking 1,000,000 times. It went insanely viral. And just the replies were astonishing.
When I said that I love the Coen brothers and I think The Big Lebowski is a good movie, but anybody who says The Big Lebowski is their favorite movie is a boring person whose opinions you never have to listen to. And do you know how many people I got telling me that was just your opinion, man? And it was like I had like the flamethrower of the mute button, just like just mowing them down because imagine.
I love that people have seen that reply like 8 times. They're like, I better do it too.
Yeah, I got to make sure she sees mine.
Yeah.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
So Tom and I are both ignorant about zines and SPX in general, and both of those are your bag. Can you please educate us?
Certainly. A zine is a paper post. It's posting on paper, as previously discussed.
Yeah, real life posts.
It's IRL shit post.
I'm holding a post in my hand. This
you
feels
are
crazy.
Yes. And so I've been making mini comics and or zines, which mini comics are just zines with more where it's comics instead of a mixture of things, since 2005. And I have also been going to the Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland, since 2005. It's a lot of fun. So my husband and I table together. He sells his comics and I sell my comics and zines, and we have things we make together. And what's very interesting about tabling there, have either of you ever tried to sell something you made like in person?
Oh, hell no. I would turn to dust. I can barely tell people to listen to fucking podcasts.
I have had to, in college, sign people up for something at a table, which is not something I made, but it was still traumatizing.
Yeah, so like imagine if every time somebody decided to follow you on Twitter, you had to like make eye contact with them while they read 20 of your posts and then decided and then their finger hovered on the follow button. That's what tabling is like. They'll come up and look at it and look at the whole thing and laugh at some of the jokes and then show it to their friend who laughs at the jokes and then they'll say thanks and set it down and walk away. And you're like, that wasn't worth $3? $3 American dollars? Are you kidding me? And I try not to get mad because I understand because I do it too. But to be on the receiving end of it is hard.
So what? Okay, so that seems like the story that is the run up to the payoff, which is, and that's why I never tabled again. But
no, because it can also be very rewarding because people will come up and be like, I read all your stuff, I love it, and you're just like king shit of fuck mountain. It feels great. And there are people who be like, I follow you on Twitter, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know, it's the brain disease. But I mean, first of all, you make money, so there's that.
Right.
And then hopefully you get people on the hook to spend more money later, which is good. But it's hard. It's really hard.
yeah, because that's something that we struggle with is like the self-promotion thing. Like, because asking someone to like listen to your podcast, it feels like you have to dip your head into like a bucket of shame slime.
Yes.
Anyone who doesn't have that voice telling them that that's a shameful thing is a superpower. Like the world is your oyster if you're shameless, unfortunately.
And that's why all the people in power are the worst people, because they don't know that they're supposed to be embarrassed all the time.
Yeah, and they will never, because they've already they hacked the game.
Yes.
So, Sarah, we've mentioned that we are ignorant of zines. We have Joe, I believe, a similar experience where like we'll like go to Quimby's and see like the rack of zines and be like, that's a lot of stuff that I don't know what any of it is. I'm gonna leave.
Sure. So, I'm sorry, was that a question?
I will ask the follow-up question.
Great.
Tell us about why the medium and like the appeal of it, and why, even though that the internet in theory lets you get everything you do out there super easy, what is unique about zines? Like, what makes it a unique sort of medium and like in a form?
Well, first of all, there's just the aspect of holding it in your hand is good. I love reading, not looking at my phone. And I think other people do too.
Yes.
So there's that. I feel like it can sort of, so I have this little thing in the back of every of one of my issues that says like, zines are meant to be ephemeral. If you read it and enjoyed it, the transaction is complete. You are free to put it in the recycling bin or be like, hey, bud, I read this. You might like it, and give it to someone else. And that can sort of just be, right? It's sort of like how people will leave a newspaper on the train seat for the next person, right? Like you can read it and then be done with it. But then because it's physical, you can share it in this way. Yeah. So people can go to Quimby's and be like, I don't know what this is. It has a drawing of a coffee machine on the front. Maybe I'll pick it up. And they might see my Twitter and never think to follow it or whatever, because it's just different. Mm-hmm. But here they'll actually see it and they can flip through it and get an idea of what they're getting. And then again, it's $3.
Right.
So like I've spent $3 on a terrible coffee beverage that sucked, but it was like, well, I had to try because I needed coffee and I wasn't sure if it was going to be good or not. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's the thing I always try to bring into interactions with buying a zine from someone I don't know, where I have no guarantee that it's going to be good. It's like, well, I just want to give them money for the act of having made it.
Yeah.
And if it's not good, if it's not to my liking, then that's fine. That just happens sometimes.
So I'm interested as a person who makes creative stuff, none of which is a zine. Like what is you've been talking about sort of like why you find the form as a concept to be appealing and worthy. What is it about, like, what is it like to actually create it? Like, how is it different than, writing for other formats? Like, what is the kernel that makes this thing you want to do?
Well, for one thing, just having the thing that you've made, it's just a good feeling. Mm-hmm. It's the same way when you were a kid and you would draw something and then you would look at it and be like, hell yeah, I made that. Or like Legos or whatever it is that you liked to put together. When I print 100 copies of my zine and then I see a big stack of them, I'm like, hell yeah, I did it. There's also the aspect that like it's not as immediate, so you have time to revise what you wrote. Mm-hmm. And you have time to sit with it for a while, and a week later, maybe you've changed your mind about something. And when you're posting online, you sort of have to just get it out of you and away from you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's an exorcism.
Yes. And I think there's something valid about spending a little bit more time on it, which is not to say a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, is that I try not to belabor any of it, because again, it's $3 and I'm not going to spend 1,000 hours on making it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the attitude with zines too, though. Like, these are lovingly made, but the idea is that they're not like something you dump 1,000,000 hours into, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's accepted that these are like, I don't want to say like side projects, but like these are not professionally done. If they were professionally done, that you would put the MAGA in front of it. Ooh, that sounds bad now. Ooh, there's a bad stink on that. But yeah.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't have ads, it's paid for by the people who read it, and that's it. And there's also something with like, I'm sure you both know the experience of being on the TL and somebody says, here's an article I wrote, and it's a writer that you like on a topic you like, and you're like, oh, fuck, I got to click on this thing and read it. And you just put it in a tab and you don't read it for 3 days, even though you know you're going to like it. It's going to take you 10 minutes to read it. Is that just a brain poison thing I have?
That's all humans.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems with just living life is that you have creative friends that are all putting their stuff online, and you just don't have enough time.
Like, like I know for a fact that like, like 0 of my real life friends are listening to this show, and like I literally can't find it in myself to feel like bad about that because I'm like, oh, I wouldn't listen to something they did, and it's not out of malice. It's just out of like I don't have a lot of time.
There's only so many hours in the day, and especially for things like reading and podcasts, where it's like you can't really be doing a whole lot of another thing at the same time, right? Like depending on what your job is, you might be able to, or you like do the dishes or whatever. But like that's still only so much. Yeah, but I think being able to say, like, I wrote 4,000 words on Stephen King's The Stand, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and my trip to the beach, and it's all one essay, and I'm handing it to you in paper form, and you can read it on the toilet or the L or not at all, and then that's just, you don't have to be holding your phone for those 5 minutes it takes you to read it.
God, not holding my phone. Oh. What a dream.
The physicality of like the fact that there's a thing you've produced that now exists in the world that's not on a screen is super appealing because my life, both in my career and like others, everything is digital. Nothing is real.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a nightmare in some ways. I don't know if you relate to this. It just feels like until you have something physically made, like a zine, that's the stuff that counts more, even though it doesn't.
Exactly. I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's weird to say that it counts more but
like if fucking Tyler Durden went to the Libsyn headquarters and set off an EMP, like my life's work would just be gone.
Yeah. I did a pottery class and I was really bad at it, but like just the fact that like at the end of it, I was like, oh, that shitty thing I physically brought into this planet is kind of nice.
What I'm hearing from what you're saying is it's a lot similar to what we were talking about before, how online purifies posting into just an unsustainably high concentration. It's like how, eating a piece of fruit with all the fiber in it makes the sugar break down healthily. But if you drink juice, then that's just like soda and it's body poison. I'm getting the same sort of vibe from that. Like going online and posting is a horrible exercise in self-harm. But like the actual like effort and intentionality to make a zine, an IRL post, sort of takes it. You feel the same posting mana flow through you, but in a healthy way.
I'm not sure healthy is the right word, but healthier, definitely. Well, and the physicality of it is like when I'm stapling and trimming zines, I cannot be on my phone because I'm using my hands already. Mm-hmm. And you're right, that there's something about I can go as long as I want without worrying about if people are getting bored because they can just turn the page if they are. Mm-hmm. Recently, I had dinner with a friend who he is online and his girlfriend is not. And that's always so interesting to me. I'm always like, what is that like? Tell me about not being online. But so he was saying, oh, Sarah's so funny on Twitter. And he was saying like, oh, you get such terrible replies from men. And somehow it came out that I have like 8,000 something followers. And she said, well, how? And without malice, she said, why do you have so many followers? Like, how do you get that? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, poison. I don't know. I guess I say things that are funny, but I don't know. And not being able to, in that moment, say why feels bad. That's like that thing you were saying about having only digital things. It's like, oh, well, every now and then I make a pun or I say something stupid about the president or, I post a picture of my cat. Whereas with the zine, you can say, it looks like this.
Yeah.
Some people like it and some don't, but you can see it and it looks like this and this is one complete thing.
Mm-hmm. God damn. Posting is just such an ephemeral, useless activity that I love to do, but that hurts and doesn't make me feel good. Oh, life, folks, life.
So what else is happening at the SPX? It's not just exclusively zines, right? Or
it's mostly comics.
What does SPX stand for?
It's the Small Press Expo.
That makes sense.
So it's like a comic convention. It is a comics convention, but there's no Marvel and DC and all that shit. It's like smaller indie stuff.
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's really fun. Have y'all been to Cake here in Chicago?
I have, but it was a scenario where like I'm afraid to talk to people I don't know at like the best of times. But when they're like, again, in that tabling scenario where I know like if I act wrong, they're going to feel really unhappy. Like they're going to feel really stressed and like on the spot. I'm like, well, I'm definitely not going to do that to them. So I was just sort of looking around being like, this is all cool. And then sort of like left in a panic.
Oh, no. I hate to hear that. The thing is, it's that same thing about people not being embarrassed. The people who are worried about being polite are always fine. Like if you, the fact that you know that the person behind the table has feelings means already you're doing great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the people who are the worst are the ones who are like, $3 for this? And you're like, yeah, I mean, just keep walking. Like, you don't have to, like, I don't know what to tell you. Other people are paying it, and if you don't want to, then that's fine. Our interaction is complete. Goodbye.
Yeah, also a weird thing to say at a place where there's a lot of zines and stuff.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's not like you are doing this on the bus.
Right. I'm not the person with that blanket with, like, all my zines, and I'm just, like, outside the L station, like, yeah. I know that feeling that you mean, though. Whenever I get up and walk around and look at other people's stuff, it's really exciting. And so I will usually just take a thing where I'm like, well, I have $20 to spend. And if I see something that looks cool and I can get it for like $1 or $2, that, you know, like, and then when I've spent the money I brought to spend, then that's it, right? And most people will have something that is free. Most people have a business card or something. So if I see people looking and I can see they're not really thinking about buying anything, I'll say, like, well, feel free to take a card and look me up later. And maybe later you will or not. I don't care. But this way you can at least remember that, like, you thought this was cool, but you didn't think it was spending money cool.
Yeah.
One thing about tabling at a convention is that people will sometimes, well, it's like your menchies are in real life where someone is standing there just saying things to you, except you can't just mute them because they're standing there. And it doesn't happen to me too often, but when it does, it is terrifying.
Oh, boy.
Because you just can't, you have to try to end the interaction without being rude, but just, you have to try to, you know, shoo them along. We call them booth barnacles because they just stand there and they never spend money. And
just, you know, from my perspective, if I'm looking at a booth and it's like, that looks cool, and there's like a guy talking to the person, I'm like, oh, that booth's busy. I got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I will be like, just too scared. So, yeah.
Well, what you should do in that situation, particularly if the person behind the table is not a man, is make eye contact with them. And if they look at you and they look like they need saving, ask a question about something on the table. Because that's a lot of times my move is when someone's monopolizing my time, I'll be like, did you have any questions? And then hope that.
So is the booth barnacle behavior that they're talking to you or just like in your space and not doing anything?
They're usually talking.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
They usually want you to know about something that has nothing to do with you.
They got opinions.
They have opinions that they want you to hear.
Okay.
And so for a long time, I did a comic about cats, and I would have these mini comics about cats, and then people would want to tell me about their cats, which I legitimately love. And if they ask me if I want to sign the book, I'll say to a person or to a cat, what's your cat's name? And then I'll say, do you have a picture of your cat? And because it's the future, everybody has a picture on their phone. It's my favorite shit. I love it.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people want to say, like, this looks just like my cat that died. And I'm like, it's 10 in the morning and I'm on 2 hours of sleep and you need to calm down. Like, it's not that I don't understand that is a thing that we can talk about in a different situation, but like, let's not jump in with that.
Yeah. In any context, weird to dump that on a stranger.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's like a whole narrative. It's like, that's like my cat. And it's like, oh, cool, your cat. You probably love that cat. It's a great cat. You bring it up in such positive terms. You have a great relationship with that cat. Think of all the fun times that died. And it's like, oh, God damn it.
And I've heard from people who do comics about like serious emotional shit that people want to dump their stuff. Have you ever heard Maria Bamford talk about how people just want to, and they think like, oh, this person understands me, so therefore, here's my life story. No. Which, to tie it all together, John Darnielle says that he gets that a lot too. When people meet him and they're like, your songs mean so much to me. Here's all 3 of my suicide attempts and what song I was listening to or whatever they want to tell you. And it's like, no, I appreciate that you have that feeling, but like, I don't need to hear about it. I'm just trying to do my job. So luckily I don't get too much of that, but I see it happen to other people and I know that it's out there.
Yeah.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode,
Folks, that's
sicko
all
mode,
for
sicko mode.
Anime Sickos today. I'd like to thank our special guest, Sara McHenry, for being a sicko today. This was a delightful time.
Oh, thank you. I had a great time.
Sarah, where can people find you and your work if they thought you were a delight as
Well.
they should have.
Right.
Well, even if they think my posts suck, now they have to go look at them, right?
Exactly.
So I'm always posting. My Twitter is Yellow Cardigan, and you can find from there my Patreon, which, as I said before, my husband and I have it together. It's called Your McHenry's, and you can sign up to get comic books and zines either in the mail or by PDF. If you don't want shit in your house, which I totally understand, you can just get it emailed to you.
That's pretty legit. You should do
Awesome.
that.
Yeah. Yes. Give Sarah money.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me money.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun thing to end on. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Anime Sickos. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.